Ah, cheers, I do, buckaroos, and how the heck are ya? Picked up some Martin City beer while I was in Kansas City. I didn't actually get to the brewery this time. Um, we just had a lot of stuff we wanted to do, but I did find some beer. So anyway, this is their Atlas Steam Ale at 5%. Light in body, dark. I'm surprised I can use the Steam name, but anyway, maybe that's because that one is no longer with us. I don't know. Anyway, usually says, California Common. But anyway, light in body is where I bought it, though. I really love the steam beer style. I haven't been able to get the original in my neck of the woods for about 6 years. Light in body, dark copper in color. I don't know what I call it, dark copper, but okay. Enjoy notes of fruity, ripe banana on a subtly caramel vanilla wafer malt profile. Alrighty. I do like that nose. Oh, that's beautiful. I don't know that I'm feeling the banana. You certainly feel the caramel vanilla, the wafer. I don't know that I'm getting that fruit note. Anyway, it is delicious. I do like this style. I'm going to miss that original. I hope they find a way to salvage it and bring it back. It's sad when a classic brewery like that goes down. Sometimes it just feels inevitable. Things get sold to larger entities and then they become a shell of what they once were. Then everybody's surprised when they finally close for good. We've lost a lot of classic breweries. Then classic craft breweries are going down in flames. Even smaller ones that aren't maybe only classic in your neck of the woods, we seem to be losing a lot. Then again, newer ones are popping up, and sometimes that's just the natural order of things. I've seen lately, all across the country, I've seen breweries about 11 years old, something like that, being sold. I think a lot of folks look to being sold about 10 years out. A lot of them are, some breweries are even, it's said anyway, without pointing any fingers, I'm certainly not going to, but some were, built to sell. You spend so much money, you try to build it so big, create a niche, and then you're right to sell to the larger ones. In some cases that happens, in some cases it doesn't, and breweries sell out anyway. Once they hit that point, that seems to be like a 10-year, 11-year mark, A lot of them just decide they've had enough. It's a tough business, and the problem is folks like us, craft beer geeks, just have unrealistic expectations of what craft beer is. We like to think it's about the art, it's about the craft, but ultimately it's about the money. It is a business, and it costs a lot to make craft beer. It costs a lot to promote craft beer, and as somebody who has worked on the sales end of it. Especially for a smaller craft brewery, it is tough to fight for shelf space because you don't have the money to do a lot of things that even not even just the big corporate guys. It's just the little bit larger craft breweries are able to do more marketing things that a small craft brewery just doesn't have the money for. So you see a lot of them being sold. The brewery I worked for, Saddlebach, was sold, I don't know, maybe a year ago now. Maybe something like that, maybe a little bit less, but created a good product, but it was a tough area. And sometimes it becomes at least as much and sometimes more about the politics of it all than the actual product. If you've got to be able to get along in the particular neighborhood where your craft brewery is. If you want to sell in specific markets, well, you've got to create that need for your product. And if you make enemies along the way, well, and that's, I've seen that happen in several craft breweries. Again, I'm not going to mention any names or point fingers, but I know we've all seen it happen. A brewery owner can't get along with this person, that person, or another person, and all of a sudden you have as a salesperson, you're fighting for show space. You sell 1 week, and you've got 2 shelves and a 4 foot, or 2 4 foot shelves, and you come back to sell more product, and you're down to two slots. And that's partly because, well, it's partly because of politics, but it's partly because there's new breweries and new beer popping up all the time, and you've got to fight for your spot. You've got to be able to do tastings, and you've got to have your uh, you've got to have your company behind you to. You've got to be willing to do what's needed, but you've got to have your company behind you as well to be able to do what's needed, to be able to spend the money. In some cases, yeah, it is true. You've got to be able to spend a little money to make a little money, but if you don't have it to spend, and there you have a problem. Tastings are great. Some people worry about tastings because you are giving away a lot of beer. You are giving away some product. But I know when I would do tastings, I mean, I had a store that was ready to get rid of our stuff. They were just done with us, just done, 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 done. We sold 2 6 packs, sold 2 6 packs in a month. So I begged and pleaded for them to just let me do a tasting. I'll sell everything you've got, and then if you don't want us again, that's fine. And so I brought in 2 other cases, and I told them if we don't sell them, you don't buy it. I brought the beer that we could sell. And I ended up selling everything we had. I got everything off the shelf. They had 2 cases of backstock we got rid of. I brought the 2 cases in. We sold that. And we started setting up one a month. And next month I sold even more, and then I sold even more, and then I sold even more. People get used to seeing you. The funny thing is in this particular neck of the woods, again, I'm not going to mention the stores by name, but in this particular neck of the woods, a lot of, oddly enough, a lot of the other craft breweries and the sales reps weren't setting up regular tastings, and I was just setting up regular, going through that, going through my route. I do this one this Saturday, do this one this Saturday. Some of them prefer Fridays, so I go Friday afternoon here, Friday evening here, Saturday afternoon here, and I was just setting them up like nobody's business. And there were stores that had never done, or if they hadn't done any tastings in a while, if they had done any in the past, and all of a sudden, I started seeing these other sales reps kind of seeing that momentum. It isn't an easy business, no matter what you're doing. If you're a brewer, if you're an owner, if you're in sales, or a beer tender, if you're a beer tender or bartender. It is a fun business, so if you like it, you've got to do it for the love of what you do. And I love selling craft beer. I love being on the sales end of it. Health reasons is the only reason I left that job. I ended up having 3 surgeries that year, back in 2018, and then this year I've had the total knee replacement surgery. So I'm hoping I'm good to go now, and with a better knee, I'm hoping I can accomplish more. I would love to get back into the sales side of it though, because I just really enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed talking to people, talking to the store managers or store owners, depending on the size of the store. I love doing tastings. I love doing festivals. It was enjoyable. Of working with the brewers. The head brewer at the place I worked with was just a great guy, a great brewer. Unfortunately, he wasn't allowed to do a lot of the stuff he wanted to do. He had some great stuff on his own, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, yeah, that's part of it too. I think sometimes brewers and owners have different visions of what their brewery can be, and ultimately the owner is going to win. But I think a smart owner would listen, and if not do it on a regular basis, at least acquiesce every great once in a while to that brewer, because he knows what he's talking about. A lot of brewers, but then again, on the other side, sometimes brewers live in this myopic world, and the salespeople know what's selling. The brewers might think this beer is the most popular, but they're not out there trying to sell the product. So everybody's got a different vision. I learned that while working in sales, is my vision and the brewer's vision and the owner's vision were rarely the same. We had 2 separate territories. There was 2 sales folks. And like I said, it was a small small craft brewery. We had two sales folks, and I thought it was odd that there was beers that he said he just couldn't sell at all in his territory, and there were the same beers I would sell a large amount of. And sometimes it is the area, but I think sometimes it's the salesperson's willingness to try to sell a product. And I will stand by my sales technique of the best way to sell something is not try to sell it at all. Present the product. Don't sell it. Don't push people on a product. Just present it to them. Give them the samples. Let them taste it. And then try to put together a relationship with them. I mean, I would go in and just talk to people. And it wasn't always about beer. We talk about whatever was relevant, it would depend on who I was talking to, right? If I knew that the store owner or the store manager was into, were sports, I would talk about the game that happened last night. If I knew they were into music, I talk about something relative to that. You've got to get a relationship with these people. It's not just about selling product. If you're all about nothing but the business, you're not going to connect with these folks. You got to connect with the store owners and the store managers. You got to connect with the restaurant managers or who's ever setting the taps up, the bar managers, whoever it might be. You got to connect with these folks. And there's sometimes it took me several visits. You just got to keep coming in. I mean, in some cases, the longest to finally get in one store that I couldn't get in, I fought for 10 months, and I just kept coming in saying hi. And I got to the point after the fourth visit, I didn't even talk about the beer anymore. I wouldn't talk about the beer unless I had something new to offer. If I had something new to offer, I'd just come in and say hi. I just want to come and say hi, let you know we were out there. And I talk about whatever might be relevant. And if I had something new, I wanted to let you know this just came out. Just give it a try at your convenience. Let me know what you think. And it took me 10 months visiting once a week. So that's a lot of visits, right? It took me about 10 months visiting once a week, but I finally got our products in there. It's about perseverance, And again, if I went in there and tried to sell them every week for 10 months, they'd have surely kicked my ass out. There's no doubt about it. But I didn't. I just tried to, again, come up with a relationship with these folks. Find out if they're into movies. Hey, they're talking about going to see a certain movie, so I come back in the next week. Hey, how was that movie? And we talk about the movie or the plot line or the actors, and get a conversation going. So, okay, I'll check with you next week. I'll check with you next week, and I'll check with you next week. Hey, got something new coming out next week. Well, I'll bring it in. Let you sample it. Just leave a bottle. You let me know what you think. I'll check back with you next week, And finally, after about 10 months, And some of the beers that they passed on earlier, they went ahead and bought. And I said, we'll go ahead and try this one. We'll see how it sells in here. I love this style. I didn't talk a lot about this beer. I just kind of went on a little bit of a rant. I do love Martin City. I wish I could have got to the brewery, but we just had a short amount of time, and there were places my wife wanted to go, and sometimes it becomes more about what I want to do. So I wanted to make sure we hit the spaces she wanted to hit as well. So I didn't get there, but I did hit a Lucas Liquor, so I did buy 4 6-packs of some Martin City stuff. This one being the Atlas Steam, because I do love the style. I don't know that I'm feeling the right banana, to be honest with you. I certainly get the caramel and the vanilla, but it is reminiscent of that classic that we all know and love. That sadly is no longer out there, but I am glad that other breweries are still doing the style. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. These damn flies. It rained like a son of a bitch in the morning here, and then by the afternoon, it's nice and humid again, and all the bugs come back. I have, I've tried to spray for stuff, and I've got it to a minimum, but I just can't get rid of them completely. Anyways, you don't care, do you? I know. We don't care, Tom. Just talk about the beer. I do love Martin City, Kansas City area. There are more than one location. Or there is more than one location, might have been a better way to put that. I am a fan. If you get a chance, please visit the brewery. I thoroughly enjoyed my one visit there 4 years ago. but enough so where any chance I can find their beer wherever it might be, I will pick it up because I do enjoy their product. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. Thanks, guys.